Altered item number 14, the Holiday Memories Tree. This is one of the 2 known items to bear the AE designation along with AI-52. Despite not having an official classification system, it is safe to presume this refers to an auditory effect. The item was obtained by the Bureau on June 2nd of 1980 after an incident on Antarctica's Ross Island the previous year. Solar radiation had damaged the radio for a Canadian research station on the island. This led to a period of isolation for the on-site staff as all naval passages to the island were frozen over at the same time. This natural barrier was likely formed due to the winter, giving a potential timeline of when in the year this event occurred. Isolation in any of its forms can have effects on mental stability. However, what the military discovered when they were able to rescue the crew was notably different. Quote, "They found the base's occupants in various states of madness, rambling about voices in the tree." End quote. The source of this madness was determined to be a white plastic tree that was used to celebrate the holiday season. Its altered effect is to, quote, "repeat words and phrases spoken within a range of feet, always in a tone below hertz." This verbal mimicry has profoundly distressing effects on the individual it is copying. End quote. As there were no reports of this event prior to losing radio contact, this is likely another case of spontaneous alteration. To date, there has been no confirmation of what sparked the alteration of the Holiday Memories tree. Due to the remote location, the accidental presence of altered materials is unlikely unless they came from a natural source rather than human interference or trafficking. However, a strong sense of isolation and fear from the staff during this period was a likely ingredient in its creation. Trees used to celebrate Christmas, or more specifically the winter solstice, symbolize an enduring light through the darkness of winter. For this reason, evergreen trees were set on fire during solstice rituals to create a powerful light during the darkest night of the year. Today, we place Christmas lights on the tree to symbolize the same thing. The Holiday Memories tree was likely the subject of alteration for this reason. The crew was trapped in the dead of winter and needed an enduring light to get them through it. In a supplemental report entitled Altered Speech of AI-14, the former head of research notes an oddity in the item's mimicry. Dr. Theodore Ash recognized that certain words were missing from the tree's vocabulary. As an example, listen to the following phrase. "These words may be real or imagined." The tree would repeat, "These may be real or..." Quote, "We began isolating these words, cross-referencing them with esoteric texts from the early days of the Bureau. We found that these words, when arranged in particular formations and spoken at varying speeds and cadences, elicit a reaction from altered materials." End quote. Dr. Ash was able to develop several, for lack of a better word, incantations which directly affect altered materials, by extension, altered items. Supposition. The origin of the Bureau appears to be rooted in esoteric thinking rather than scientific rationale as we utilize today. On the containment notice for AI-5, the language used to describe its altered effect is thaumaturgical effect instead. This word has esoteric roots. Sometimes translated to English as wonder-working, it refers to an individual's ability to perform magic or miracles. It is worthy of note that Dr. Ash uses the expression formula for this string of words instead of incantation. This suggests the blending of esoteric and scientific thinking for the Bureau at this point in time. Today, these older forms of thought have been stricken from the Bureau's lexicon. Per Archival Mandate 8.A, any esoteric vernacular used in reports was to be slowly erased. The Holiday Memories tree represents an important pivot in the Bureau's ability to respond to AWEs and stray altered items. Use of these formulas gives Ranger squads the ability to identify and subdue them with greater ease. One example is, again, AI-5, where the game hammer could not be identified without a trial and error period, which led to various animal deaths. Please see my previous report for further details. I will need to review statistics from Ranger operations to determine if there was a significant drop in Ranger casualties from 1980 moving forward. If there is, it may be as a result of AI-14 and the discovery of these formulas. Per Dr. Ash's report, they achieved an 82% success rate with eliciting physical response from items in the examination hall. This is where altered items were housed prior to Director Trench's administration, as he was the one who funded the Panopticon's construction. Supposition. The 82% success rate is due to an incomplete list of words that are missing from the item's vocabulary. Dr. Ash concluded his paper with, "And to think there are still more words to be found." End quote. As more words are discovered, the effectiveness of these formulas will only improve. Research Proposal 1. It is recommended to either locate or record a cassette tape of the entire dictionary. By placing this onto the containment cell for AI-14 and having an audio recording of the experiment, a full list of words can be discovered. After this list of words is compiled, they can be placed through an AI phrase generator to create a series of potential formulas. Testing of these new phrases can proceed from there. Research Proposal 2. It is also worth compiling a list of all known words and translating them into other languages. Do these formulas only work in English? In all languages, or only in some but not all? If it exists only in English, it would suggest the sound itself and not the words are what affects altered items. If they work in other languages, it means the archetypal idea behind the words is what affects them. Shipmental note. After a trip to communication, additional details about Ross Island were uncovered. The geographic location is in the Ross Dependency, a region of Antarctica that is a territory of New Zealand. Under the British Settlements Act of 1887, the region's current borders were defined on July 30th, 1923. Despite looking through current records, I am unable to locate a Canadian research station that is currently occupied. To date, there are 4 primary facilities on the island: Scott Base, which belongs to New Zealand, McMurdo Station for the United States, Mario Zucchelli Station, which is Italian, and Jangbogo Station, run by South Korea. Most likely this would suggest that the Canadian facility is currently abandoned, possibly as a result of events surrounding AI-14. In addition, a second event occurred in this region roughly around the same time as the 1979 solar radiation incident. On November 28, 1979, Air New Zealand Flight 901 crashed into Mount Erebus. This led to the death of 237 passengers and 20 crew members. Search and rescue ended 2 weeks later with large portions of the wreckage left and is still there to this day. All materials related to the crash are held by the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research at the New Zealand Archives. Out of the 168 record items taken, 12 are under restricted access. This includes 7 photos, 4 audio cassettes, and a newspaper clipping from Air New Zealand. What these records are and why they are restricted is not known. No known link between the cause of this plane crash and any paranatural occurrences has been established. Supposition. Various aspects of Mount Erebus stand out as odd. Most of these data points are likely coincidence and meaningless, however, they evoke certain images in my mind. Bureau agents are told to pay attention to intuition, so here's what it looks like to me. Mount Erebus is the southern hemisphere's foremost active volcano and is home to one of the 5 long-lasting lava lakes on Earth. This lake formed in the mountain's inner summit crater. In 1992, a robot explorer was sent into the crater and called the Dante 1. Erebus is the name for the primordial god of darkness in Greek mythology. It is also known as the dark mists of the netherworld. The naming of the Dante Explorer bot was likely a poetic license on behalf of the research team. Despite this, all I can see is the descent of Dante into the darkness of the Inferno. Air New Zealand's Flight 901 crashed into this mountain, and some of the rescue operation records were restricted. Did they find something other than a wreckage there? Large portions of the plane were abandoned on the side of the volcano. And what caused the alteration of AI-14? This would not be the first time spontaneous alteration occurred in the vicinity of a volcano. A caldera lake located in Washington state is a paranatural hotspot and related to 3 separate AWEs and AI-73. Could the volcano called Mount Erebus be just as active as this caldera, but due to the remote nature of its location, prevent us from noticing? Could it be responsible for the alteration of AI-14, the crash, and an untold number of occurrences that we are unaware of? Such places are categorized as places of power. While confirmation at this time is impossible, I will recommend further investigation to be done on this matter. This concludes my report on AI-14, the Holiday Memories Tree.